Hello JCU academic team, I'm Tim O'Shea, and for my assessment I will be reviewing the Tableau dashboard entitled COVID Impact on Air Passengers, which can be found in the public gallery of Tableau. I haven't used any third-party commentary or reviews of this dashboard, however I will include a detailed list of my references in the script. So welcome to the dashboard COVID Impact on Air Passengers. The creator of this visualization is Ivan Forns, and according to his Tableau public profile, Ivan has an extensive history in the travel and airline industry and is currently an analytics and business consultant at Amadeus, the leading IT solutions provider for the global travel industry. Ivan helps airlines to detect revenue opportunities by analyzing and visualizing data. By taking this background into account, it would seem clear the intent of the viz is to show the impact of COVID-19 on European airline traffic, and the desired effect is to enable the audience to make comparisons of year-on-year data to identify potential trends or revenue-making opportunities for airlines that service the European market. The intended audience would be airline executives working for companies that service these markets, who are tasked with understanding market trends in order to maintain or increase revenue for their employers. They might also look to identify potential corporate takeover targets or engage in strategic planning or competitor analysis. And the audience are likely to be highly educated professionals that are accustomed to the analysis of visually presented data and are also likely to have extensive domain knowledge and business expertise. The visualization is encoded in a top-down format, defined by Grammel and his co-authors as when the user first selects the data, then picks the predefined visual structure with which to represent it. The choice of how to encode the data has required suitable mapping between the data attributes and the visual layout, and then the creator has proceeded to provide some customization for interactivity. The data has been encoded using position, hue, magnitude, and proximity, and includes the effective implementation of several key Gestalt principles. This specific approach is discussed more in detail by Mendes. Task abstraction, in this case, is to allow direct comparison of numerical data to identify patterns. The need for a viz idiom that facilitates fast and simple comparative analysis has been delivered by engaging what Munzner describes as the most effective comparative channels of spatial position and length against a common scale. In terms of data abstraction, I feel the creator made an excellent decision to compute a derived value from the data source and plot a normalized data set, the attribute in question being the change in passenger numbers being calculated and expressed as a percentage change from the previous year. The specific passenger numbers are not used as an axis value, as this would require a tremendous increase in space or a reduction in the fidelity of the data being represented. It would not be practical to use a common axis to represent a route with 50,000 passengers along with a route with 4.5 million passengers, for example. For the layout, showing 15 years of time-ordered data in a simple but meaningful way is no easy feat, but the creator has done so by using multiple diverging bar chart sheets and aligned them along a common scale to add relevance and ease of comparison for the viewer. This arrangement of tables also addresses several key reasons identified by Jones as to why a creator should use multiple charts in a dashboard layout, including providing the viewer with a perspective not otherwise available, and also implementing filtering or highlighting to allow the viewer to answer ad hoc questions about the data. The vertical diverging bar chart provides a simple and effective visual progression over time. The alignment of the point of divergence is at 0% growth, which is not an arbitrary figure when the intended audience is taken into account. Above or below 0% would be a common and probably key metric in the mind of the audience. The layout of time sequence data has been effectively grouped using a continuous variation in hue, which is discussed by Munzner as being extremely effective for categorical data and showing groupings. The use of hue as a grouping element utilizes the Gestalt principle of similarity to segregate years, and the use of annotations does an excellent job of explaining outliers or significant events. I also enjoy the sequence of hue that the creator has used for two reasons. Firstly, he utilizes the ordered color spectrum, so the changes are visually congruent with the left to right passing of time, which is one of the encoded attributes. The second reason is the intent of the viz is explicitly noted as showing the impact of COVID on air travel. As is certainly understood by the intended audience, the impact of COVID has been extremely negative, and the creator's choice to order the colours to finish with a saturated red hue for 2020 is subtle, but effective in creating an impending sense of doom as we approach 2020. With the intent of the viz being to show the year-on-year differences in air travel for Europe, the most significant amount of space has been utilised for side-by-side comparison of the highest priority data in relation to the intended purpose, with interactivity allowing the viewer to filter by year and month, and also by length of flight. Considering the comparison involves two datasets plotted on adjacent maps, I also appreciate the creator's choice to include side-by-side maps without the need for zooming. This allows a viewer to make the best use of their visual working memory and make rapid like-for-like comparisons between the datasets with minimal need to memorize additional information. The importance of using visual working memory efficiently, particularly when showing comparative data, is discussed in detail by Plumley and Ware. One choice I'm not clear about is the use of magnitude and hue encoded bubbles to represent packs at departure point. The viz encodes these values with hue and magnitude, but the attached legend does not explain the hue encoding at all. In terms of interactivity, there is one prominent tooltip positioned near the 2020 bar chart, which simply explains that clicking on an individual month will engage a larger bottom half of the viz for the side-by-side data comparison. This feature would be useful for deeper exploration by the target audience of domain experts. The interactivity also provides for the viewer to hover their mouse over and target a bar from the viz, which opens a small breakout window to explain data for the selected period. Again, it's clear here that the creator has an excellent understanding of the motivations of the audience, allowing each year to be explored as a mini viz of sorts. The interactivity is simple and intuitive. The creator has done a great job of using available space to express the continuous data over time, with emphasis on the effect of COVID-19 and the clever use of colouring along the timeline. A notable interactive element is the action filter of flight length, which is located in the centre of the viz. This is separated into long, medium and short. The aesthetic choice of a dark background is also an interesting one. At first glance it might seem bold and overpowering, but it does give emphasis to the use of colour and the node link lines in the maps. If the alternative is a white background, I believe this would reduce the impact of the viz in several ways, particularly in a reduction of the impact of the colours used, and also the need to use dark grey or black lines to link the nodes in the maps, which in my opinion would be considerably less effective. In terms of recommendations or effectiveness, from a critical point of view, there are some limitations and deficiencies. One limitation is the map comparison between months, in that only consecutive years can be compared. A possible improvement for this might be to enable the viewer to select the target year for each side of the comparison map, allowing for more flexibility for exploratory data analysis. Another limitation is the top half of the viz cannot be filtered in the same way as the bottom by length of journey. I think it would be useful to be able to filter the bar chart data in the same way as the map data. Another limitation is available space, which has resulted in very cluttered use of the European area of the map. None of the encoded data is clearly understandable. Also, the lack of labels for the flight length action filter is a notable omission. I believe there's sufficient space to better explain these values. Overall, considering the assumptions about the intended audience and desired effect, I believe the creator has produced an effective and user-friendly visualization. The intent is to show the effect of COVID-19 on European air travel. This has been executed well. The highest priority information has been given the largest amount of space, and the interactive filters allow for the viewer to dive deeper and explore the data based on personal interest or relevance. All in all, a coherent and effective visualization that delivers on its intended purpose.